when they get sick, it tells you. Some of the other batteries that they have, such as the AGMs and others, they just when they're dead, they're dead. It's 12 volts today and 0 tomorrow.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed.
Okay,
that's one of the things that I noticed about my battery. I got an interstate battery there in Ventura, and it was doing really well for about a year, and it's supposed to be a 5-year battery, but now it drops down to like 11.8, sometimes 12 volts, and that's telling me it's an AGM. That's telling me that it's not as healthy as it should be for as young of a battery as it is.
I can't address AGMs because I'm not familiar with them. I only know experiences that I've heard from other people where all of a sudden the battery's dead and it didn't even tell you it was sick.
Yeah. Well, in regards to performance, it's very similar to your wet lead acid batteries. It's a gel using fiberglass as a medium to stabilize it, and it exchanges back and forth. It's very, very much like a wet battery does, like what you've got.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got a voltmeter on the battery at all. It's running at all times, and it tells me what the battery voltage is. And right now it's 13.02. Is the sun is still beating on the solar panels. But when the battery is fully charged and having been rested for 24 hours, it should be 1272. Mm-hmm. That would be 2.12 volts per cell. That times 6 is 12 volts and 12 volts and 72 1/100 of a volt. That's fully charged and rested. If it can't hold that, it's telling you that it may be getting old. Yeah.
There's some new chargers out there that have a little lead on the for each battery, and so it's watching each battery, and it'll tell you if there's a differential. And ideally, you want all the batteries to be at the same charge level. And when they're not, then you start having a problem of overheating one battery because the other one is still needing more current. So you ultimately end up damaging more of your batteries because of just that one battery.
Yeah.
So
well, one of the maintenance criteria is once a month I get a hygrometer out and go and measure the quality of the electrolyte. And we got Ron has joined us here. Hello, Ron.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Doing fine. Doing fine.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah, bye.
And
no picture, Ron.
And the other Mike is in with us. Yeah. What are you, Micah? What is your background there? What in the world is that? It looks like you're in a palace of some kind, like an Egyptian throne.
That's actually the LAMPS antenna for the government. That's what's underneath the helicopters in a big round dome. I built a whole bunch of these in the for the government.
Oh, well, it looks
well, that's strange. That's strange, Mike, because I don't see anything at all. I see a blank screen.
You see a blank screen?
Yeah, it's black.
Really?
Same way with Ron.
Really?
But I've got Roderick and I've got Dorothy.
Oh,
you don't see me, huh?
Ron's got a background, and
my background works. And if he can see it, then you should be able to see it, Les.
Yeah, so I don't see it. I got Scott. He's coming up, but I guess everybody with a background.
Check your video settings.
My video settings. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it gives me a choice of disabling the video receive.
I'll give you guys another one that I worked on. It's called the Orion project. How about that?
That's it looks like a lot of beads wired together.
It's called a deployable solar array. It opens up like a Japanese fan.
Hmm.
And it's going on the Orion, going to Mars. They've already deployed one, and now they're going to build another one, or they're going to have another one go up for the bus, which is what carries the payload.
Hmm. That's interesting. Yeah. Fantastic.
So I worked on a couple projects for ATK in Goleta, and before I retired. One of my most accomplished achievements. The other one that I'm really proud of is, let me get this one. Find it here real quick. This one. This is part of the GOES satellite system, the mapping global warming. I built 12 ship sets of these deployable solar arrays for the GOES GOES satellites.
Yeah, yes, right. Use it quite frequently. Yeah.
So
Get
that's
some good get some good weather maps off of it.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that, and I'm glad to tell my grandkids they got something that Grandpa worked on in space.
Yeah.
Say, Mike, when you did those arrays, were you working for SBRC or Raytheon?
I was working for ATK Space Systems,
Oh,
now Northrop Grumman.
okay. Because I worked for Santa Barbara Research, and we did a lot of work for the GOES program.
Yeah, I was actually a NASA wire harness solderer
Oh, okay.
for ATK Space Systems, and then I worked on the secret project for the lamps antennas for the government.
We got another party came in here. Roderick, GSU. Hello. Oh, can you hear us? Roderick, can you hear us?
His sound is off, Mike.
Okay. Let me see who else here. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people, but I'm not looking around here. Oh, there's Dorothy. Yeah, John.
What
Scott.
would you like me to say?
Yeah. Well, I've only got three of you, myself and three others on a screen. So I've got to do this.
I can't see that one very well.
Oh, I got Mike's changed the background. What it looks like you're sitting in front of an engine.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, wonderful.
That's actually the tank. This is what I take Bill and Wayne up to Santinez Peak. This is my
Oh,
truck.
okay. It's a vehicle. No, that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's your Toyota, your red Toyota.
Yeah, and I actually am going through a mini Rubicon trail wash. That's I get 36 inches of clearance on this, so I go over these boulders like nothing.
Is that the road to San Ynez?
Well, pretty close to it. I mean, you're getting if you go past Camino Cielo to Broadcast Peak, that's getting close to what it's looking like. It's getting pretty rocky.
Wow.
I was going to say you're getting 36 inches to the gallon. That's a little bit bad.
Not gallon.
It should be at least 36 feet.
36 inches of travel. But 11 miles per gallon.
Yeah, I have to compare notes with KVX when you did the Divide Peak run. That was nuts. That was pretty wild. That's just a sketchy.
Well, try Big Bear sometime during the winter. I did that once. I have a photo of that too. That was really fun. That was like a 2 foot of snow. My truck went over it. And I managed to truck right through it. It was pretty gnarly. Because I've got right up to my rock guards. But that was before I decided, I said, I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to turn around. A lot of fun though. I haven't done that in so long. Let's get back to the fun though. This is what I do.
Yeah,
Oh, ho, ho.
yeah.
Looks good,
You
Mike.
got, you got the makeup for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, this year is going to be special, I hope. Looks like we're going backwards. I just can't believe that people can't get vaccinated and we're going backwards because now LA's already masked up, even though you're vaccinated. It's
Yeah,
just crazy.
they're going to be give some thought to doing it to us here too.
Well,
You
know,
might
I
need to
can't-
put that Santa suit on early. They might shut you down again for Christmas.
Well, I was going to suggest that we have a big gathering before they do shut down Santa Barbara.
We were thinking do the same thing for the sideband breakfast, doing one in September or something.
Mike, I heard on the news today that not only LA County, but 10 other counties in California have reinstituted the mask indoor program. But they didn't say which
Well,
counties though.
Santa Ynez is one.
I see.
So that tells you that we're in the middle. So
Sure are.
I suggest that we all get prepared because it's not looking good. And KBX is going to Hawaii tomorrow, and he's in a world of hurt if they lock everything up.
Yeah, my wife is leaving Monday, heading back to Madison, Wisconsin for 5 days. I hope she can get back home.
Well, I think one of the main things I'm enjoying right now is helping Bill and Wayne get the SB, getting a repeater set up for the peak, Tempest-Gate peak. So we haven't got the approval yet. So we're hoping that gets passed.
Mike, are you putting a passband filter on that, or is it just a duplexer?
What's that?
Is that what, VHFU, or is that?
I'm not sure where they're going to go just yet. We're waiting for the approval.
Yeah. Did you guys get a passband filter, or is that strictly duplexer only?
I believe it's going to be duplex, but I can't answer for that because I don't know what Wayne wants to do yet.
We ended up getting a passband filter for Gene's box up in Gibraltar, and it really helped. So I don't know how quiet it is up where you're going, but it's, if you got the money or something, or I can maybe even find you one. You can always add it later, but all right.
Well, speaking of money, we have the ability to get 2 microwaves for free, but they just need to be shipped from the East Coast to the West Coast. So if somebody's got some money, like maybe $1,000 to $1,500 to have this shipped to us, we can have them installed at Santa Ynez Peak and La Villa to fix our microwave issue.
Oh, so you got T1s on there?
We have one, but we need to fix it. So if we have the money to get that thing transported from East Coast to West Coast, we can make it happen. I guess that's what Bill says.
I'll have to talk to Bill about that.
Yeah.
Mike, are you still working on those that big traffic cam container? Was that you that was
I
sanding it
was,
out?
and I went up there today and I installed the new fan that I bought, and Wayne is going to wire it up. He's already put the racks in, and Bill got the racks power coated. It looks great.
Oh, that's good.
Wayne did a great job on the foundation too. He got the foundation put in. He also put the animal guard on the bottom. So everything looking really good. We just don't know how forward we're going to go yet.
Right.
Maybe Wayne he just popped in. He can explain.
Well, we're awaiting approval from the county, and when we get the county approval, then we'll go in for frequencies, and when we have the frequencies, then we can build the trays. So I mean, there's a few steps still have to go through before we can really make progress on that. I am putting together the trays for the San Ynez Peak to TCF link, but we're also waiting frequencies on that before those can get finished up. If you can see those radios in the background, if you got sharp eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Wayne's got a great machine shop. I love his machine shop. He's got an awesome machine shop.
Looks like a wood shop to me.
Well, it's both.
Yeah.
It's a welding shop, wood shop, machine shop. See here.
Don't mess with Wayne. He'll take you to this woodshed too.
There we go. There's a lathe and a milling machine in the corner there.
CNC machine.
I'm waiting for the invite, Wayne.
Sure, anytime.
I was an aerospace precision machinist for many a years.
Oh, well then when I get stuck, I'll bring you in.
There you go.
He's funny guys.
We used to lap match our servo valves
Uh-huh.
so close. They were so close that the molecule of hydraulic fluid couldn't even leak past.
Okay,
All right. Well,
we're on now.
now click on yours. Click on the three dots.
Guess everybody's about here. A couple more here.
It's gonna be a lot of people on vacation this next week, including myself.
I see Sandy has filed in. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Ron. Good to see you.
Likewise, we can't see you though.
Maybe that's a good thing.
I heard Dorothy had laryngitis, so she might not be able to speak.
Dorothy, do you still have laryngitis?
Speak up, we can't hear you.
Shaking her head, yes.
Yes, mutingitis.
Sign language.
Silence is golden.
All right, well, it's 7:31. We've got quite a few in here. Let me see how many we got on YouTube.
Oh, Daryl's here today. Hello, Daryl. Haven't seen you at these meetings before. Welcome to Zoom.
Did everybody get the word on Bruce? NRW.
Is it getting better?
They brought him back out of unconsciousness a couple days ago, or day before yesterday, or yesterday. He gave 2 thumbs up and he can wiggle his toes, but he's still under a breathing tube. So they had some issues. He had a twisted aneurysm in his brain, so they had to take and fix that. So he is still in the hospital.
Okay, so that's basically the report of this morning.
Yep.
Was he in a medically induced coma?
Yep. Yeah, because he's pretty feisty. From what I understand from KBX, he was like, he's an ornery guy. So they had a little trouble with him.
Okay,
But-
let's get started here. We got, I think we've got about 20 people, 18 here, and I don't know how many on YouTube. if I happen to disappear for some reason, right before this started, my cable and internet were off for about an hour and a half. And matter of fact, I was on my way down to the club station to use the internet down there. And my wife called me and I turned around and came back, said it was back on, and got here just in time to start getting things set up. So, but if the goes out again and I just disappear, I don't know if you guys may have to proceed on your own. The last guy out, turn off the lights. All right, let's see. Well, I think about everybody that's going to check in is checked in. I'll keep an eye on it here. So let's start out here with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
For
which it
stands,
stands,
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
all.
Okay, let's see. Well, let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'll call out your call signs. If you have the ability and you can turn your face on here while you say hello. That way everybody can see that you're real. CKG, you're the first on my screen.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Les. Usually you find me monitoring via my SDR play at my desk and 8 o'clock in the mornings.
Okay, and it looks like me, I'm next on my screen here, K6BPM. I'm Brian, and you're the MC for tonight. Let's see, Mike's X. What's XR stand for, Mike?
Oh, that's the name of the phone. It's the 10R.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, good evening, everybody. Mike KC6CBB, and I'm glad to hear that Bruce is coming along here. That's good news.
All right, next, Ron, KKG.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Ron Gibbons, W6KKG over here in Rancho Santa Barbara Mobile Home Park. Really enjoy meeting all you fellas and particularly coming down on Saturday morning. So back to you, Brian.
You aren't related to Ewell Gibbons, are you?
No, and that's an old joke. I've heard that more times than not. By the way, I've invited a couple of homeowners here in Rancho Santa Barbara, one of which has joined the club, and the other one is online tonight. And I'll let her introduce herself. But Brian's been talking about maybe putting in a commercial repeater here at the park, so I'll let him talk about that later.
Okay, JFB, Santa Claus.
Hello, this is Mike, W0JFB, Monterey Pines.
And then we got Rod, GSU. Hello, Rod.
He's got his mic off.
Well, I don't know, he's got his speakers ought to be on. Hello, Rod.
Rod has a hearing problem.
What?
Rod has a hearing problem.
Okay. All right, John, JPG.
John, Whiskey 6 Juliet Papa Golf down in Ventura.
And Callie.
Alrighty, Kilo Delta 6 Oscar Victor Sierra over in San Roque, and still working for the city. And if any of you guys want to, we're short of radio tech. So, anyways, back to that.
Wayne.
Yeah, I'm a director in the club and work on most of the infrastructure.
David Hackelman.
Oh, muted.
You're muted, David.
Hit the button.
There I am.
There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry about that. Dave, K6 VML in San Bernardino, and it's nice to see everyone.
AI6VX. Dave.
Dave, AI6VX down here in Ventura, and I'm in the middle of restringing my Helicrafters S38.
Daryl. Daryl.
I think it's my turn. Good evening. Good to hear everybody tonight. And good to see you. Sitting back, relaxing, looking forward to a nice, quiet weekend. Back to you, KF6DI.
Okay, Scott, VMH.
I'm Scott, KJ6, VMH. You'll often hear me on the Tuesday evening net, and I'm just starting to tune in also to the Thursday evening net. So I'll be hearing you guys down the radio waves there.
Yeah, I hear you a lot. Jim, JFE. You're muted, Jim. There.
He's muted.
Well, you're still muted. Well, you're not muted, but we can't hear you. No audio.
Can't hear you, Jim. Can't
Just
hear
turn your sound up.
Okay, Joe.
So 6 Delta X-ray Whiskey.
Oh,
Not doing a heck of a lot of things, just sitting here.
Sandra Live.
Hi, this is Sandy, and Ron Gibbons invited me to join you all this evening just so I could see what the radio club is all about and get acquainted and hopefully learn some new things. So, hi, nice to meet you.
Well, welcome, Sandy. Hope you, this is all of our really cool guys are not here tonight, so you'll have to do with us. Dorothy.
I think I'll be okay with you.
Okay. Hi, Dorothy. That's Dorothy, K6DSO, and she's the club secretary. And she's got laryngitis, so she's not talking. And we got Harry.
where's Harry?
Well, I have Harry, but I'm not sure he's actually connected here because I don't see any mute or anything for him. So if he's just listening or whatever, didn't join with audio. Hi, Harry, how you doing? I assume it's PDQ, Harry. All right, that's all I show on my screen here. Let me see I don't know how many we have on Facebook. Or not Facebook, on, yeah, it doesn't say. It used to say, maybe we don't have anybody watching on there tonight. All right, let's see. Well, first of all, we, as of last night, actually, we heard last night, we'll be able to have meetings in person starting in August for our next meeting. So we'll be able to have that in person. So back at the normal place out at the Goleta School District Administration Building out there and on Fairview. And they just changed their policy, I guess, at the meeting last night. Tom let me know about it, but it was a little bit too late. We to do it for this month. We could have done it tonight, but it would have been difficult trying to work everything out. So that'll be nice. We'll be able to go back to normal. For those of you that have enjoyed being able to attend over Zoom and not having to drive out there or drive up from Ventura or Oxnard or down from Buellton or Santa Maria, we are going to integrate Zoom into our in-person meetings. So we will set up a computer with Zoom running, and we're also going to get a new camera that will allow, it'll be better than like a laptop camera or something, so that you'll be able to see the whole room and see what's going on and see a speaker. So we will have to figure out how all that stuff works. But we hopefully will have it done by the next meeting. And we've already done a little bit of work on that to figure out what kind of stuff we need. We have most everything. The only thing we want to add is the additional camera so that it will be a wider angle picture. And then we'll have the grid for the people that are attending via Zoom on a monitor, so that other people, so you'll be able to, it'll be kind of like what you're doing now. You'll just be able to see the whole room. And and then we'll have, if we have a presentation, then we'll put it over on the Zoom screen if it uses the screen on the back of the room. So we have all the equipment except for the camera. Since the last time we had a meeting, a lot of the manufacturers have gotten smart about the market for streaming products, so that for Zoom meetings and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, because it got real popular real fast over the last year and a half. So there's a lot of really interesting and cool products out there now. And we no longer have to have miles of cables and microphone stands and all that kind of thing. They're all about the size of an HT now, and really nice 4K cameras. And so I think it'll be a useful addition. And then those of you that don't feel like trekking out to Goleta will still be able to come to the meeting over Zoom. So the club has its own Zoom account, so we're going to continue using it. And I think we're going to keep doing our board meetings over Zoom, except a couple times a month we'll get together and have a live meeting. But it's worked out good for that as well. So let's see what else. I've had a couple people ask me about having, if we were going to have a bazaar this year. If we were going to have a bazaar or a ham fest, the last we checked, the county still wasn't allowing any groups at the park, but that was about a month ago, I believe. So I don't know what the situation is now. Whether or not we'd be able to have a barbecue ham fest type thing out there. So we're just going to have to play that one by ear and see. Now the club doesn't have much in the way of things that we've collected over the past year and a half to have a fundraising type bazaar where we put out a bunch of stuff that the club owns and try and raise money. But if other people are interested in doing this, then I'm more than happy to get things organized and set things up, and we can have something down at the Red Cross on a Saturday morning. So if if you're thinking about cleaning out your shack or your garage or something, and you got some stuff you want to unload, I was thinking if there's enough interest, if we can get enough, I don't want to have just one or two guys show up with some things to sell, and so if we can get a few more, if we can get 6 or 7 people that are interested in selling old gear or that type of thing, or old electronics, and want to bring it down to the club station have a bazaar down there, then let me know. Send me an email. You can always send it to president@sbarc.org, and I'll get it. And let me know if you want to participate, how much stuff you got. The Red Cross is we'll have to check with them to make sure they don't have a CPR class or something that day, because they fill up the parking lots when they do that. But we'll figure out a day, and then we'll just go ahead and have an event, get opened up at 7 o'clock, and you can come spread your stuff out. Now, the only thing would be is whatever you don't sell, you got to take back with you. This won't be the kind of thing where we'll have Mr. Moon come up and haul things away that don't sell. So if you, it come 12 o'clock when it's over, we want to make sure everything's clean and back to its original condition. But we have some tables down there, and we've got 3 or 4 tables in the shack that we can drag out there. We can reserve some of the spaces for laying things out, setting things up. So anyway, if you're interested in that, just let me know. Daryl, you nodded your head like you had a whole bunch of goodies. Daryl?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a great activity for the club. Everybody should if everybody brought one thing, we'll spend all morning out there playing musical chairs with that one thing, swapping it around. And everybody ought to dig deep and get rid of that stuff you haven't touched in years. And you all have a lot of it. So I got more than my share. I'm a collector. I don't throw anything away. If it has any possible use to it, it will show up on my bench or at the bazaar. I'm bringing a bunch of things to the next club meeting, in fact. So, once we get together and we have the free to get home table, we can, just ship that over to the bazaar instead, and that sort of a thing. And we'll have a good old time. And we can have some refreshments, soft drinks, and maybe some sandwiches and cookies or whatever, and make a day of it like we always do. And it's always a good time. I'm all for it.
Okay. We don't have a difficult time getting people to come. A lot of people will show up for those. So if you got some stuff, anything that's has to do with amateur radio or electronics or things like that. We had a couple bazaars where people showed up with stuff to donate to the club, which had nothing to do with either of those things.
Hey,
And,
Don?
yeah, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
Not me.
Oh, did somebody say something?
Sorry, it's calling my son.
Oh, okay. Thought you were asking for the floor here. Anyway, but they're fun. They're if it's a lot of people will show up to look for things and come from out of town if we do something, and there haven't been a lot of them lately. So they're I think that it'd be kind of fun. Plus, we've done absolutely zero as a club for 18 months, longer than that even. So if we can, we're more than willing to do it, set it all up and let people know and do some mailings and stuff like that. So all we need is some people to sell stuff. So let me know and we'll see what we can do. Let's see. I'm sure everybody knows the club station's open. We've been back in the club station for probably the better part of a year. We're starting to get really good attendance down there on the weekends. So if you're in the area, we're always there between 9 and I'm there till noon usually. There's usually somebody else there from maybe till 1:30 or 2. So, you know, everybody's welcome to stop by and say hello. There's a lot of people that we haven't seen actually live and in person for a long, long time. So, you know, feel free to stop by. A lot of times there's donuts, coffee, you know, and there's, plus we've always got radios on, and you know, there's been lots of activity on Saturday mornings on 20 meters. So you can come down and play around with the radios. But anyway, it's your clubhouse, so come on down. All right, tonight we were going to have a presentation on mesh networking again. We had one 5 years ago, and it was very interesting, and it got a lot of people interested in mesh networking. For those of you that haven't never heard of this before, or maybe you saw it but don't really know what it is that we have our own wireless network that covers most of Santa Barbara. And it's very inexpensive to get into. A mesh node for your house runs you about $75, $80, and you can hook it up to your computer. And we've done all kinds of things since, and over the last 5 years, we have our own telephone system. You can dial another person's number by simply entering their call sign in the phone, and it'll dial their mesh phone on the other end. And we have, it's basically like a little internet, and except that it's limited to licensed amateurs, and also people that, you know, have the equipment. Obviously, there's a lot of people have equipment up, and it just hasn't been really active lately. So we had a bit of a date mix up. I gave him the wrong date, and when I gave him the right date, turned out he had something already going tonight. So he wasn't able to do a presentation, but a lot of stuff has changed. The types of equipment we can get has changed. It's been greatly expanded. When we first started doing this, we were pretty much limited to 1 or 2 models of nodes for homes, and pretty much one frequency, one band. And now we're in 4 bands actually, and there's the types of equipment that'll work on has been greatly increased. There's lots of new programs available to use with mesh networking. There's chat programs, there's forum type programs. It's really rather interesting, and you can even set one up like an ad hoc network station pretty much anywhere, because we have these located on all the peaks. And you just point your little node at a peak, power it with 12 volts, and you can be attached to the mesh network with your computer, your phone, whatever you want, anything with a Wi-Fi connection. So anyway, so next month, Orv is his name, Orville Beach, and he's from Simi Valley, and he's going to do a presentation. So I had to come up with something else, and something I've been, Levi K6LCM, who is not here tonight, he's traveling, but he was visiting his parents last month in Rhode Island. And he set up I guess they live in an area where they have difficulty getting a good, a broadband internet connection. And he set up one of these new Starlink internet systems from SpaceX, from Elon Musk. So Elon Musk has put 4,000 some odd satellites up already. That's going to increase to 40,000 satellites. They're low Earth orbit satellites at about 350 miles above the Earth. And when he's done, pretty much everybody in the world will have access to broadband internet. It's kind of, now, anybody, if you've ever used an internet phone, or not an internet phone, I'm sorry, satellite phone, you know that there's most of those go through geosynchronous satellites, and those are like 25,000, 22,000 miles from Earth. So the latency and if you don't not exactly sure what latency means, it's basically the time the connection takes to get from point A to point B. So if we're trying to connect to a computer or a server in Washington, D.C. from Santa Barbara, you know, your latency might be 50 milliseconds, but if you want to go to London, it might be more like 400 milliseconds. It's going over fiber optic cables. You know, you theoretically get close to the speed of light, but still there's latency. Well, the latency for a geosynchronous satellite is more on the order of about 1.5 seconds, which is quite a long time. It's very difficult for internet. Over the years, there's been some attempts at internet, satellite internet from Hughes, from a couple of others, and they've worked okay, but it's kind of like having a 9600 baud modem. You know, they'll work. You might be able to get some emails and stuff, but you're certainly not going to be able to watch a video or send big pictures, not very fast anyway. So the Starlink system has latency under 50 milliseconds, and it's in a lot of cases it's like 35 milliseconds, which is just about as good as terrestrial fiber. And it's really quite something. Matter of fact, Levi he got it set up for his parents. I want to show you this. Anybody that's ever done a speed test, let me show you this. As soon as Levi got it set up, he did a speed test, and he was getting 230 megabits per second download and 27 megabits per second upload. And his unloaded latency was 34 milliseconds. So that is unbelievable for a matter of fact, that's really good for that'd be top tier cable modem territory right there. And this is with a satellite dish. And let's see. Okay, let me show you another one here. Okay, my screen is doing funny things here. This is all that okay, Zoom is giving me a little bit of a. Okay, and that's all the installation was right there. The little antenna, just you sit it out there. It's got a control box about the size of a pizza box, and you put that inside, and you run the cable up, and it finds where the satellite is, and where the one with the best signal is, and locks on it. And these things can be used on boats. They can be used on trains. They can be used on motorhomes. They're coming out with new models that will, work on higher speed vehicles. So you'd be able to have broadband internet as you're driving down the road in your big motorhome or something. Take them camping with you. You could do anything. And the neat thing is that they're actually cheaper than like something from Cox Cable. So I think Levi's told me they're $95 a month or something for that. Now I'm going to show you a video here about how these things work. It's a pretty well done video, and he's doing it in phases. And I don't know if some of you caught it, but many times last year you'd see these strings of satellites in the sky. And they do a launch of the Starlink satellites, and you'd see them, and over a few days, they get farther and farther apart as they approach their their positions where they're supposed to be. And they're not, they're non-geosynchronous. So they move around, and he's doing it in 4 different sections, I think, starting like with North America, and then going down through the equator, and then south, then far North America, like the Arctic zone, and then down further into South America and the Antarctic zone. And they're basically going to blanket the sky with these things. And it's really quite amazing. I never thought I'd live to see this, but it's anyway, so I'm going to play the video here. And it's about a 20-minute video, so it isn't too long, but it's a really very interesting video. So let me get it started here. Let's see. Find it. There we go.
First done commercially in 1963, and then became adopted for use in television, military, and telecommunications applications. From the 1990s, when the internet gained popularity, many tried to take up into the failure of Teledisk, a project partly funded by Microsoft that aimed to have a constellation of hundreds of low-orbiting satellites. The project was eventually abandoned in 2003, but in September of the same year, the first internet-ready satellite for consumers was launched by Eutelsat. Satellite internet prior to Starlink was useful in both rural areas on the ground and for airlines to allow internet while flying, but it was slow. Many satellite internet users would know that the speeds aren't that great, and it's quite expensive for what you're getting, and it takes a lot of time from the signal to get to Earth, up to space, and back to Earth again, with average latencies of about 600 milliseconds. And this is where SpaceX comes in.
Shouldn't the way you charge your device be just as good as the device? I mean,
this is
but what's crazy is that your phone you don't even need the wires. Hi, I'm Hope.
Okay. Maybe my internet is not behaving well yet. Okay. All right, I don't know what's going on here. This is...
Not only this, but SpaceX decided not to go for the geostationary approach. On the plus side, this also reduces latency, but on the other hand, it makes tracking satellites much harder because they're rapidly moving across the sky instead of hanging stationary overhead. So, here's a question. How do the Starlink dishes on the ground track and receive internet data from a bunch of satellites flying through the sky at a rate of 7 kilometers per second? Well, the way they do this is also pretty amazing. The Starlink dish doesn't physically move across the sky to track all the satellites, because that would be ridiculous. Instead, there's actually hundreds of tiny antennas creating a phased array. These signals are processed by a large integrated circuit, which adds them together intelligently. Because the beam is moved digitally rather than physically, it can be scanned so fast that it can accurately follow any satellite moving across the sky. It can also be refocused near instantaneously at another satellite if the first satellite gets too close to the horizon or is obstructed. Technically, you'd be able to use one of these in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and still be fine. This setup is called a phased array antenna, and it has its origins in military use and is traditionally very expensive. So for SpaceX to bring this technology down to the consumer level is pretty outstanding. So the question must be asked, Yes, so Starlink is doing all this fancy stuff, but how is it better than the state of the art?
We're targeting latency below 20 milliseconds. So somebody could play a fast response video game at a competitive level. Like that's the threshold for the latency.
Well, according to Ars Technica, the average satellite internet has latency of 638 milliseconds. And according to CNET, the average download speeds range from 25 megabits per second to around 100 megabits per second. Starlink, in its early stages, has the following performance, according to beta testers, between 50 and 175 megabits per second, with a latency of about 20 to 40 milliseconds. Linus Tech Tips in his testing got about 138 megabits per second download and 27 milliseconds latency. According to SpaceX, speeds should improve as more satellites get launched and the network gets filled out. The target speed will be 1,000 megabits per second or 1 gigabit per second. For context, in Perth, Australia, I get about 17 megabits per second and 50 milliseconds latency, and I'm a 3-minute drive away from the CBD. But I guess that's just Australian internet for you. But back to Starlink. They do state that some interruptions in connectivity are to be expected in these early stages. So what about bad weather? Well, that's definitely one of the downsides of satellite internet. As per Starlink's FAQ, the satellite dish is actually capable of melting snow that gets on it, but it can't do anything about snow buildup on either side or obstructions that might block the satellite's line of sight. It also reads, quote, "Heavy rain or wind can also affect satellite internet connection, potentially leading to slower speeds or a rare outage," end quote. So what about the cost? Well, the Starlink service isn't exactly cheap. On top of a $99 per month subscription fee, customers must also pay $499 for the satellite dish and the Wi-Fi router. But after knowing about the technology inside of the dish, that kind of price is expected. Though SpaceX's president, Gwynne Shotwell, expects the upfront equipment cost to come down to, quote, the few $100 range within the next year or two. So we're almost at the end of the video, but before we end, let's take a quick look at the competition. So a company called OneWeb, which is backed by Airbus and Richard few satellites for their global internet, but filed for bankruptcy in 2020, though they recently have secured $1.4 billion in new funding. And then there's Amazon's Cooper, which is backed by the fortunes of billionaire Jeff Bezos, and they're looking to join the race to provide broadband services from satellite constellations. But if you ask me, I think SpaceX is miles ahead here. Though, it has to be mentioned that there are some negatives to this project. Astronomers complain of light pollution caused by Starlink satellites. Painting the satellites black has been proposed, but some argue that this isn't enough. The other main issue is if something goes wrong in orbit. Say a tiny piece of debris is coming for a Starlink satellite, and the satellite can't use its thrusters to get out of the way in time. This would result in a cascading event where collisions occur from too many satellites in low orbit. Though the probability of this happening all depends on how good the autonomous systems are on the Starlink satellites. If they are as good as claimed, then this shouldn't be an issue. So what about the implications for SpaceX? Well, for SpaceX, Starlink is very interesting because already the performance of the system holds its own and is only set to get much better over time. In other words, much of the value of the system is in the future. If the speed of the full satellite system is anything like the simulation that Mark Hanley calculates, having internet speeds better than ground internet and being able to be anywhere in the world and receive a signal would really feel like living in the future. The Starlink system is a huge feat, but if all works out well and it turns out to be profitable, it could spell a bright future for SpaceX. Although we should probably be skeptical of that $50 billion annual revenue by 2025, but even half of that is a great achievement. And Elon really does think that this is going to be massively profitable. After all, he has tweeted that Starlink might be its own spin-off IPO. So, watch this space. If you want to discuss more about Starlink, head over to the Cold Fusion Discord. There'll be a new channel. This video. Skillshare is an online community for learning anything from video editing to productivity to graphic design. I'm sure a bunch of you know who Marcus Brownlee is. He's one of the biggest tech YouTubers on the platform, and he recently released a course on Skillshare. It goes through everything from researching to
Okay,
writing
let me
scripts and planning for an
stop
actual
this
video that he
here.
released on YouTube. Marcus did a great.
Okay, I apologize. I don't think my bandwidth is up to where it's supposed to be yet. I don't know what they were working on, but were you able to see that okay?
Sort of.
The audio is a little choppy. I think you need a Starlink antenna on your roof.
I know, yeah. I don't think you were here yet, Wayne. Were you here when I was saying how my cable, my TV and everything was out?
Yep.
And I was on my way down to the club station, and my wife said, "Oh, it's back on." So I ran back home, and but I'm still seeing a little bit of some issues here. So anyway, I was doing some reading about this, and if you want some really good technical reading, if you're interested in this, the Wikipedia article on Starlink has a lot of details. This video is a little older. The bandwidth now that they're talking about has almost doubled, as evidenced by Levi's speed test that he did. And they're in 2022, all of the satellites they will be launching will be communicating with other satellites by laser. So they won't be using, now, right now, these satellites are working in the, all the way up to anywhere from 20 gigahertz to 60 gigahertz. And they're getting approvals for all of these blocks of bandwidth for everything to, under the sun. When they switch over to the lasers, everything will be done between the satellites by laser beams. So that will drastically increase the bandwidth and lower the latency down into the sub 20 millisecond range. The article's real good. Apparently the speed of light is different in space than it is on Earth. It's a little faster in space because of the vacuum, and they're using it's sort of a mesh system so that all the satellites communicate together and share the load. And so if each one has something like 400 Linux servers on each one. And all of that works in conjunction so that they can act as both like nodes on the internet, like big switching systems, and send your signal off in the right direction to the satellite that's going to get you to where you want to go. And it's very similar to how it works on Earth. When you're using the internet on Earth and you want to go from here to New York, you don't go directly to New York. You might go to Kansas, and you might go to, Winnipeg, and you might go to Florida, and then you might end up in New York. It just depends on how your traffic is routed. And this will work much the same way. It'll find the fastest route to your destination. And then on the ground, there are stations that will actually connect to the terrestrial backbone. So you'll be able to get your, it won't be its own internet system. It'll all work with the normal internet. And it's very, very interesting how it works. I'm just amazed that he's able to pull this off, because all of the money that's been put into satellite systems thus far has not really produced much of anything. So aircraft will be able to use them. You'll be able to watch, not only will they have in-flight shows that you're getting from internet, you'll be able to watch your own show, whichever one you want. You'll be able to just take your tablet out or your phone or whatever, and use the Starlink system through the airlines to watch whatever it is you want to watch. YouTube, streaming video, your favorite podcast, whatever it is, you'll be able to do it. So it's amazing, and it's coming fast. So they're going to be here in, I think in a couple of 3 months, they're going to start launching from the space launch complexes up at Vandenberg. And they're one of the one of the things, and I know a lot of you guys probably when you were worked on aerospace equipment. I know Santa Claus did, because he just showed his pictures here earlier. But these satellites that he's putting up there, a lot of them use off-the-shelf components. Their Linux computers are off the shelf. They're not special built. The only difference is that they're shielded differently than they would be if you're going to use them on a project at home. But the satellites cost around $300,000 each, which is amazing. You know, when you think of some satellites we put up there cost in the range of $500 million or more, these cost $300,000 each to produce. And by the time he's done, there'll be over 40,000 of them up in the sky. So anybody that we've I know I've got some friends up on Painted Cave, and they've been waiting for fast internet for 25 years, and you know, it just isn't there. No one will run the circuitry up there, and all they have is Verizon or Frontier ADSL, and you know, it's just terrible. But this is really gonna change some things. So I think Levi ordered one for his house. So when they get the cost down to where they're, you know, a couple $100 for this stuff, we'll probably have them at San Ynez Peak and Diablo and.
It just seems like a brittle system, though. I mean, North Korea or someone does one anti-satellite weapon, and you just, you know, now you've all of low Earth orbit is destroyed. Cascading failures with 40,000 plus Amazons plus the other people's is just going to make that whole system really brittle.
I didn't tell you about the death ray that they're building into it.
Comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Orion project was over $3 million just for one satellite deployable solar array. The other problem I have is the recent solar flares that we're having that are taking place right now, which could be interrupting a lot of the internet issues and solar communications and stuff like that. So I don't know if you've looked into it or not, but I just looked at the NASA site, and the solar flares are really bad. So you might be having problems with that, Brian.
Well, I'm not. I don't have one, but the you know, I got a feeling that they've probably thought this out pretty good, and you know, the Elon Musk is not. He's you know, he's a very impressive guy. I mean, he's kind of an odd guy sometimes, but I mean, to pull off the stuff that they've pulled off is pretty amazing. I mean, I was amazed when they could land a rocket back on Earth. I mean, that was, you know, just totally amazing as far as I'm concerned. But I think that they've probably thought this through. The matter of fact, there's another article that I read about this afternoon, that they are these are designed to be they're not green so much as that they're designed to be friendly to the Earth, in that when they decay, they have a mechanism to retire the satellite and guarantee that it's totally burned up in the Earth's atmosphere and nothing will hit the ground. And the next generation of the satellites that they put up there, the next grouping that will have the laser equipment in them, I guess they even improved that. So they'll have a finite lifespan, and when their days are numbered, then they will retire that and they'll send it into the incinerator and launch another one to take its place. And since SpaceX owns the launch vehicles, they can do this relatively economically, and they can. Matter of fact, I read that they can launch them ahead of time, and as they are positioning themselves to take the place of a retired satellite, they'll be moving so they can move right into that position when the other one's told to self-destruct, so to speak. So. But yeah, Wayne, you got a point there. If North Korea or China or somebody wants to, that the other side of the coin is that they will benefit from this as well. It covers the entire globe. So countries like China and Korea that really don't have the quality infrastructure that we have here, they'll have equal use of this network as we do. You'll be able to live out in the middle of the Gobi Desert or or Mongolia or somewhere, and you'll be able to have one of these internet dishes on your camel or your donkey, and travel around and have internet connection. And destroying that is really, it doesn't hurt the U.S. as nearly as badly as it would hurt a lot of the other countries.
Well, except that they really can't just use it, because then they can't do the censorship that they do now on the internet. They would need a whole separate network. I mean, China's probably hot to launch their own 40,000 satellites. I mean, I haven't heard of them planning it, but I can't imagine they wouldn't.
I imagine that the routers that they use would probably have to be, made to the country's specifications and their laws and stuff. So the routers that we buy wouldn't be the same as the routers the Chinese buy, for example. So that there'd be some kind of safeguard. I mean, a lot of how the Great Wall of China works is they control the DNS for everything in China, and they block everything else. And so when they do their DNS lookups, if it's not listed there, they can't get to it, obviously, unless they happen to know the IP address directly. But even then, they can block direct IP access from their applications. So it isn't impossible to traverse the Great Firewall of China, but it's difficult, and you got to do a little work to do it. But I think that it would be. I'm sure that they probably, these things that are obvious to us. I mean, I imagine they've got a whole room full of engineers, a whole auditorium full of engineers, all saying, well, what about this? And what about that? And how do we deal with this? And how do we deal with that? And they've got some things figured out. One of the other things that's really nice about this is there are places that have never had internet on this earth, and they will already have in a lot of places, like little towns in Africa and things like that, they'll have one of these dishes in their little village or whatever, and set up a Wi-Fi access for everybody in the town so that they can have faster internet. But it's just it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I just can't imagine they'd gamble with this much money unless they had all the angles covered.
Yeah, it's just sort of the laws of physics, though. With it was such a big deal when the Chinese shot down one of their satellites that suddenly produces 10,000 pieces of rubble that can destroy other satellites. So
yeah,
as soon as, like I say, you get this cascading failure problem, it's sort of laws of physics, unless they do have this magic dodging ability. But yeah, I don't know. And that's probably they may have worked out their 40,000, but how they're worrying about China's 40,000 and Amazon's 40,000 down the line, because they talk about, two competing US systems, and I'm sure there'll be a European one and a Chinese one.
Yeah.
I agree with you there, Wayne, because right now the satellite that China blew up for that test, we now here in America, we track that cloud and we tell the other countries when they can launch in order to avoid that cloud of debris.
Yeah, and that was for one inadvertent thing, not, a serious attack.
Well, these things have some kind of automated avoidance system on it. They use krypton gas as a propellant, and they can move them around to avoid collisions with things. And I guess they've developed an automated system for doing this so that they don't have to. They don't even, people on the ground aren't necessarily telling it to do this. It does these automatic avoidance routines on its own.
ADSB.
Yeah. So it's, if you're interested in this, reading the Wikipedia thing, there's probably a lot of too much information there, but it's really detailed. A lot of the footnotes point to articles that people have written about the technical abilities of this, but it's hard to imagine. I know when my dad was an aerospace engineer, and he died long time ago, but he would just be amazed. That's an aerospace engineer now makes those guys look like they were playing with Tinker Toys compared to the sophistication of the stuff that they produce now. It's really amazing.
This thing could empty out all the mountaintops because no one would need microwave links anymore.
That's true.
I mean, why bother? You get 200 megabits, from your roof to Botswana. Why mess with 100 pass microwave system across the country?
I was thinking that if it might be worth it just to get one for the island and get one for St. Ines Peak, just so we don't have to deal with the problems.
Yeah.
Pay for it out of my pocket.
Yeah, that's right. We could save that much in gasoline.
Yeah, really.
Might very well shut down all those cellular satellite, not satellite, but the cellular towers for telephone use.
Well, yeah, I don't think you can use a handset with them, so you couldn't talk to them directly. You still need that phased array antenna, like a meter or something.
Yeah, you could use a VoIP system or something, but you'd have to sign up with some other carrier for that, and get a phone number, because there's I have a app that's a VoIP phone on my cell phone. But it's actually an internet app. It's not using the cellular system. But the one of the things is it's going. You see it $99 a month. Yeah, I mean, you have to buy $400 worth of equipment, but they'll get the price of that down. And they'll have ones that'll be a little cheaper for the southern climates, that don't have snow and don't have heaters in them, and that kind of thing. But it could really cause the cable companies and the other internet providers to have to be more competitive. If you could get a satellite, I mean, look at how many TV dishes you see these days. A lot of people just say, heck with it. I'm, not going to pay $200 a month to watch television. And they get a satellite dish for $79 a month, and they make it work. And there's so many people are going to streaming now, and there's so many offerings for streaming. You can almost watch anything you want to watch already without having, regular television or cable television. And that having internet and fast streaming and all that, and independent, for less than for basically $100 a month, might well be worth it. You know, I mean, even your cheapest bundle, I think, that you get from Cox is $250 for a month with television, with reasonable television and reasonable internet access speed.
Yeah,
And
this thing seems really tempting to me. I'm really tempted to go get one tomorrow.
yeah, well, there's a waiting list, so you better get your name in.
The other thing is when 1 billion people all have them, then it's going to slow down too.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
it's great for the first 100,000 people, but it'll get tougher.
I think that I think they're planning for that eventuality, and
Yeah,
they claim that it's only going to get faster. It's not going to get slower. So it could, you know, he may well be on his way to adding a few more $1 billion to his bank account with this. It's just, and then after coming home, my cable's off and my internet's off, and I can't, you know, I had to go outside and look up Cox, go to the Cox website, and they say, oh yeah, there's an internet outage in your area. So, or there's a cable outage and they're working on it. But having a satellite, even as a backup, it's cheap, you know, $99 a month as a backup system.
Yeah, those satellite phones aren't cheap. We've got several of those in the city, and they're kind of a pain if you're not just going to let it sit there. You got to go check and make sure it's still. It can be a nuisance. So having it there where it's like a hall was hooked up, it'd be great.
Might be a good opportunity to buy some stock in that outfit.
You might have problems getting something like simulcast if the 22 milliseconds or whatever, if it's not consistent latency. That there's some things like that don't like inconsistent latency.
Yeah.
But pretty much, I mean, you could just do something slightly different.
Comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to let folks know that I set up a photo of this item behind me is the first Orion project that we had designed and prototype built. And this was going into the test chamber in LA. And this is what it looks like when it's folded for stowage. So on the bus or the aircraft that's going up in space, this is just one wing. Now there's 2 wings that go up in space. So this is the first wing that goes in and it gets tested in thermodynamics and all the whole 9 yards. But then things get really complicated because it actually gets to the point where it looks like this when it's deployed in space. That's what it looks like.
Click on that icon.
This is the bus. There's the deployable solar arrays. This is what's the technology is going to Mars. So this is what I was working on before I retired.
No,
What do you want?
I want my face on there. Oh, I can't do that right now.
Okay, so as long as you got us here, oh, there's Doc. He missed the whole thing. I didn't see him up there.
There he is.
Hey, Doc.
Hi, guys.
How long have you been in the waiting room, Doc?
Looked like about 55 minutes.
Oh, are you?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I started the program and my screen got covered up, so I couldn't see the waiting room.
No, I just logged in.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about it, and I was really busy today, and it slipped my mind. So
I'm sorry. I was trying to check it frequently, but I was having trouble getting the video to play, so I didn't touch anything for a while.
no,
Starlink is booked up through 2021.
I was actually waiting less than a minute, so don't worry about it.
Okay, all right. Good.
I just thought I'd pull your chain a little bit.
Anyway, okay, so now you guys are all here. We've got some time left here. As you guys know, Wayne, AF6GX is, he's the site trustee. He knows everything there is to know about our repeaters and all of that. And I know there's a few of you that like to use the 14518 repeater. And maybe Wayne could give us an update on the improvements that we're going to make on that, because every Saturday somebody comes in and starts complaining about it. And that way, maybe, you know, we'll all know about it, and then we can, when the complainers come in, we'll have better information. But anyway, I believe you guys have all the parts now, don't you, Wayne?
We have the radios. I don't know if we don't have the antennas yet. So I'm not sure what the status of those, but we don't have the frequencies either. So that's kind of the first thing we need. Is we're still awaiting kind of coordination on that. And then we'll also have to be reprogramming controllers. But right now we're building up we do have the link radios, and I'm building those up with the fans and duplexers and things to get that physically ready.
Good. So anyway, we hope pretty soon these are going to be we're going to be taking Sending as Peak off of the microwave, or taking the 14518 repeater at Sending as Peak off the microwave, and using a 420 megahertz direct RF link to the Talanian Communications Facility on the Mesa.
And I just got the dial on and the faceplate and realized I forgot to glue the string.
You forgot the heat screen?
Sorry, guys.
I can never tell if they're trying to say something, you know, and comment or something.
Anyway, I just tried signing up for Starlink, and they said in our area there's no more capacity until 2022.
Oh no. Yeah, I guess we should have signed in a little while back, or tried to sign up. Oh well, it'll give us something to look forward to. Well, they're going to start launching the laser ones in 2022, so that's going to really boost capacity. I guess they're trying to do it very democratically and not let everybody in every, you know, trying to spread them out.
Well, I think by controlling the access, then people will have a good experience with it. If everyone jumps on only 1,000 satellites, then suddenly the word will be, well, you only get 10 megabits out of it because, you know, it immediately gets overloaded. But when they get more of a constellation, they, you know, arrange the users to match the constellation, then people will have a good experience out of it.
Yeah, that's probably right. And you know, like these satellites are spread all over the Earth, so if they keep it kind of globally balanced, you know, so that there's not a heavy load on one segment of the network up in the sky there, that'll also improve their experience if they try and keep the thing balanced. Although if there's people with the Starlink things in Nigeria, I think we're all in for a bad time coming up here.
I think I'm going to call it a day. I think I'll call it a day. See you people later.
Okay, Joe.
7-3.
The last thing we want is more guys in Nigeria with broadband internet access. There's a lot of princesses over there and a lot of widows of former prime ministers and things with free gifts for us.
Yeah, they'll just have to give, you know, Elon 10% for the big guy, you know, and then it'll be just like the other way. I mean, I imagine that isn't that what the guy over in sorry, never mind. Bad.
Work on commission.
Yeah, commissions. That's it.
That's a good idea. Maybe they're already thinking of that. Now, if he can make those ransomware proof, he might have a real good business model there. Anybody have any questions about anything to do with what's going on with the club here? Nobody?
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
We need to connect so I can find out a little bit more of the requirements for All-Star
Did you
for the club's connection.
did you look at the go to the All-Star site and read all about it?
I did, but then there's stuff for logging in and connecting with I've got my number and I've logged in. I've been doing some reading, but I guess there's something unique about our All-Star number that we need.
To answer that question.
Okay.
Go for it, Mike.
You're gonna do an All-Star node?
Yeah.
Okay, Les, you need to go on to the website, the SBARC website, and read Levi's and Matt's description of what you need to follow on the rules. The simplex programming for node, the node for the clear node is specific, and you need to follow the specific programming for the simplex area of the node. There's certain areas of the simplex that you cannot access because it interferes with all our repeaters and it causes a lot of problems. So you need to follow those programming rules that's stipulated into the website.
Even though I'm down here in Camarillo, huh?
Well, if you're going to be
That's not what I mean.
To our node, yeah.
No, that's not what I mean. You just need to go on the website and make sure your simplex node is programmed to 446.0 or other frequencies that don't interfere with the other repeaters.
Hey, Les, what did you buy? Did you buy something?
No, I haven't bought it yet, but I did download from the All-Star Link website. I did download the Android application, and they said that I could use that application instead of using a clear node.
Okay, then you don't need to, what Mike was talking about doesn't apply to you at all.
No.
But it does need information that I don't have that is club related.
I think you just need the node number. Have you tried putting the node number in and connecting?
Yeah, I'm going to look at it again. I ended up getting busy with some other technology, so I have to go back and revisit it again. So my head's foggy on it right this moment.
Okay, so the main one that's tied to all the repeaters is 43763. So that'll be where you'll connect to. And I'd recommend just connect to one node at a time, because I know there's been some cross node connections. OBB did that accidentally once, and so did Mike. And so you'll end up connecting the 440 repeater also, not just the 2-meter ones, but just connect to one at a time. And at least then you're now connected to the All-Star node and get into 145.180, 146.790, both of the island repeaters, and one other one. I can't remember what the other one is, but I think that's all. I don't think you actually need anything else. That's the only way. That's all I do when I connect in.
I concur.
Thank you, Dave.
Let us, when you get it done there, let us know, because I'm leery of these apps on phones for these things. The hardware devices that do this are they're all basically using, I think, one of 2 or 3 packages, and they've all been really well vetted as far as performance and how they work with systems, various systems. But what I really want to be careful of is getting phone apps that are doing things that are gonna cause a lot of resource use on the system. So when you get that installed, let's do some benchmarks and stuff. So, because if that works, then everybody that's got a Android phone will get it, and we could be primarily an all-star network instead of a repeater network. And I want to just really be careful that we know what the ramifications are.
I'm an analog guy. I'd prefer to stay analog, but when I'm in South Bay, I can't get communication for the Cuckoo Net, and so that's primarily my focus is when I'm completely away from the repeater, or like Jerry over there in Arizona, which just drops in every once in a while. That's my only interest in it.
Yeah, no, that's not. I'm not worried about that necessarily, but well, to give you an example, like when when everybody was using Echolink, we have a camera that is hooked up to YouTube from the island. And when Echolink was active, I have to get on the computer up at the peak. I mean, it was constantly dropping the feed from the island because all of that uses the same location. There's an All-Star computer that we're running All-Star on, and Echolink runs over All-Star, and it also handles the All-Star. We use All-Star for VoIP, for VoIP, and that's what we use as the transport from the island. So we have all these things coming into one box, and Echolink was terribly poorly behaved with the way that it handled bandwidth and stuff. It stayed connected, and it sent a keep alive or something to constantly be connected, so that if some activity occurred on the repeater, you'd hear it right away. I don't want to jump from the frying pan into the fire and get because if it works, and then we've got 10 people all using it, or 15 people, and it starts dropping it again, and then we lose that connection, and it takes me about 5 minutes or something and to go back and restore that connection. And a lot of times I don't even know that it's down. So later on this year, that camera feed's going to be being played full time down at the Carpinteria station that we're putting in. So they have a whole big 65-inch monitor down there just to run that particular feed. And if it's going to be going up and down a lot and stuff, we're just not going to be able to do it. So I'd like to, when you get it working, I'd like to know, like you to use it sometime when I can watch the bandwidth and stuff see how it works. I don't have an Android phone, so I can't do it, but so I can keep an eye on it, and because I don't want to be promoting it. I don't want to be encouraging everybody to go out and get this program if it's going to bring us right back down to our knees again. So that's the only concern I have. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about it. We only have so much bandwidth that we can get from, we don't have an actual internet connection up at the Mesa. The internet comes from the Red Cross, and we have a microwave link from the Red Cross to the Mesa. So if it was coming into a broadband connection, we'd be in better shape. But if it's trying to squeeze everything over that I think it's 20 megahertz of bandwidth or 40 megahertz, I don't remember, but it's just not a ton. And I think we have like 54 megabits per second on a good day. And more normal, it'd probably be 35 to 38 megabits per second. So anyway, we just got to make sure that we don't kill it. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I just want to say that I have a clear node from Jerry Philby that designed that clear node. I'm extremely satisfied with his technology, and I feel that it's better than Echolink. And I also feel that it does have a problem with trying to keep up with communications because there's a timing set, a timeout. So I can't actually key up until the repeater drops. just like Echolink, you can't key up until the repeater drops. So if people who are using radio constantly, there's no way I can actually access until I actually get a clear repeater drop. So that's fine. And I think that's beneficial because it actually clears the air for other users. But I'm satisfied with the clear node from Jerry Philby, and it is a robust system. It is really fascinating to see a good system that is actually functioning. Thank you.
Well, I haven't seen any issues with the current Echo or the current All-Star links that we have now. As a matter of fact, let me see. Let me see how many days it's been up. Oh, let's see. It looks like it's down right now. Wonderful. Okay, I was going to see how long the feed has been up from the island, and it looks like it's down. So I guess I'll have to fix that.
Brian, I just keyed up on my clear node from my base station. So you should got a signal right now.
Well, I'm not looking at that. I was looking to see if the connection was live from the island, and apparently it's not. I looked this morning and it was.
This is what I find fascinating with the clear node. If you're on hotspot on your phone, you plug your simplex frequency into your mobile radio. You put your clear node on your dash in your vehicle, and you're driving north to wherever you want to go. You key up, you can hit anywhere in the world you want to go. If you want to communicate to whatever direction you're going, that clear node will go to that node that you select. That's the fascinating point of this whole system that I have. And it works off your hotspot on your Android phone. And it's just fascinating. Because I just keyed up on my base station, which is the same thing as my vehicle, on the clear node that I currently have plugged into my house.
All right. I wanted to see. I'll get this started back up here. Before it conked out, it was going for 484 hours, which was pretty good. That was before it stopped earlier today, I guess. But when we had the Echolink on, it might go 12 hours, it might go 32 hours, something like that, but it was constant. I mean, it was almost every day that I had to get on there and reset it. And I'm actually on the All-Star computer right now, and I'll start this back up again. But it's a little bit of a job because you got to get into the All-Star Linux box up there and start things going again. But I'll do that here shortly, and hopefully it'll stay up. Anyway, but that's just my only concern with that is that I don't know anything about the Android app. I know that the Echolink one was caused us so many problems that will probably never come back.
Well, the Android app, if you buy a clear node from Gary Philby, you have to use his app in order to access his node.
Okay, no, we're talking about something entirely different, Mike. This is an app for a phone for using it just directly. Les, it's something similar to Echolink, right? I mean, it's a push to talk app.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
talking about, yeah, I got that. It's called, I got it in my phone. It's called Echolink, period.
Not
It's,
Echolink. No.
No, All-Star has one also for the Android and the Apple phone.
Really?
They have one for Apple?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll look at that one, see if I can.
Because KBX was actually trying to access the node, and he was having some really difficult trouble. I met him today, and I tried to work it out with him, but his Android didn't work well.
Hey, Brian, you're running a Linux system up there for that connection, aren't you? For the camera? Can't you set up a watchdog? It's just a process in the background.
There's 2 steps to it. I have to log in to YouTube Studio, and I have to tell it to go live. So I just restarted the service right now. I could do that, and I could set up a watchdog on it, but all that does is start the stream. Then I have to go back and tell.
Well, I thought maybe if you had a watchdog, it could at least let you know when it went down, so you could be more reactive.
I don't want to be reactive at all.
I realize that, but instead of letting 12 hours or so go by before you realize that it even went down.
Yeah, I know the idea is to not have to do this. So let me see if we get the stream going here. Anyway, yeah, I mean, we just prefer it didn't go down, because it is kind of a pain, and it's I made it a lot easier to get to it, but says I have an excellent connection, so let's see if it comes up. But I have to log into it. I have to restart the service. The service is still running, so it doesn't stop the service. It just loses the connection. And I haven't put a lot of time into it, so I don't know how easy it would be to determine whether or not it's sending the stream. It thinks it's sending the stream, but YouTube isn't hearing it, isn't playing it. So in order to get YouTube to play it, I have to restart the service, and I have to tell YouTube that I'm going live. I literally have to press a button on YouTube in a special area that says we're going live right now. So so that's what's made it. Yeah, we could have it alert us and tell us when, if the service went down, but it doesn't go down. It keeps running. It just doesn't. So start sending the video. Well, looks like it's on, but it's dark out there. So it's okay. I see the lights now. So it's back on. Now I can see the lights on the shore. Anyway, so I mean, you probably get my gist. I mean, it's not that I don't like it or something. It's just that we're trying to eliminate as much of this having to be, in a panic, and there's somebody saying, hey, we can't get the feed or something, and having to go run to the computer and get it back up and running again. So it's sort of like if you had to have somebody kick the repeater every time you want to make a call, it'd be kind of hard. So anyway, but just when you get that figured out and get it working, let me know so that we can I can log into the box up there and see what the utilization is, and see if there's much difference. Like I said, we haven't had any problems with the clear nodes, so nothing I can see. So, and it's been staying up. I mean, 400 hours is pretty good, that it was up before. So
480, it's 20 days.
Yeah, 480. That's actually really good, because considering it was almost every day before. And some of it is atmospheric. Some of it just happens. Some of it, we lose signal out there occasionally, and if that happens, then it's going to go down. I just don't want to for it to become a pain. I mean, there might be some other options that we can look at. Because of funding limitations and things, we have a tendency to try and squeeze too many things into one box, and the quality of the boxes that we get are not always the best. And having it might be possible to separate that from the box if we can figure out what it is, and then people could we wouldn't have to worry about it so much. But once we start feeding the Carpinteria station down there full time, I want to make sure that it's not going down during the day, because they're going to have people coming through. And Santa Cruz Island, while they have cameras from all the islands out there, Santa Cruz Island is like the big one. That's the one that that's the tallest peak, and that's got the biggest, the widest views, and that's going to be sort of the main focal point. And the guys at the aviation companies that fly out there check the windsock out there, or Wayne's Vane, to see what the weather conditions are. Anyway, so anybody else got any questions?
I just wanted to say that while you guys are doing all that, I was actually working on radios. And my ham station is oops, here we go. My ham station is now functional on HF with
look at that.
A vertical antenna, and there's the key, the paddle, and the straight key, and over there where all the books are now was my my kilowatt linear, which left the house this morning by a UPS on the way up to Washington to get repaired. Weighed 67 pounds, which is 3 pounds less than the limit for a pickup by UPS. And I managed to get it boxed and out of the cabinet, boxed and down the front steps so the UPS could get it this morning. But anyhow, so that's an HF set up there, and when I get that linear back, it'll go over where the books are, where the red book is there.
Yeah, it looks nice, Scott.
Up top on the right hand side of the screen is an LDG tuner, which will handle a kilowatt, and tunes. I have a vertical that has 9 bands already. It's already tuned to 9 bands, but this will flatten out any of the bands that have any bumps in them in the SWR. But several of the critical bands are all under 1.2 SWR just from tuning the antenna itself. So anyhow, that's my news.
Well, I'm glad you got that working, Doc. It's been a while.
Yeah, well, it took several months for the antenna to get here, and then so I basically didn't do anything until it came.
Yeah.
So anyhow, and it's been really great to have something to do besides watch television. My mood is much better because I haven't watched the news.
And amateur radios are like a babe magnet, so you're going to be having girls knocking at your door all night long wanting to see your radios.
Yeah. Well, okay, if you say so.
Then you can play them a little piano music and.
My ex-wife, when she became a part of the women's movement back in the 70s before we were divorced, used to invite her friends over to see my Denny's big erection in the backyard, meaning my 35-foot tower. Anyhow, that was about as close to having females comment on my radio as anything ever has been. But there are some. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there was ever the slightest interest expressed in it, and I don't think so.
Oh, geez. Kelly's breaking out his stuffed animals again. So I don't know. I think it's about ready. About time for us to go home. All right. Any last business for the meeting tonight before we adjourn?
Well, I was wondering if how Dorothy's laryngitis is doing. Maybe she could like wave at us if she can't speak. No, she's still muted.
She may have gotten into the wine, Doc.
And she was waving earlier.
That's good. That's good. That's good for the laryngitis.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Hope you feel better, Dorothy.
Hope you feel better.
Next time, remember to get your laryngitis vaccination.
I just got my shingles vaccination. I got to go another 3 months.
That's important. I've had shingles 3 times, and I once fired a dermatologist who, when I told him I'd had shingle 3 times, he said, "You can't. That's not possible. You can't get it 3 times." So I said, "Okay." He was young and stupid, so I said, "Okay, you're fired." Gonna get a new dermatologist who believed me when I tell him after 40 years of medical practice that I'd had shingles 3 times.
I would guess, Doc, that if you tell them you had shingles, you had shingles.
Well, Doc, I'm got to say something. The VA, I go to the clinic, I sit down in the main lobby. The guard there is very strict. I mean, he's who he is. But the thing is, we get these veterans come in. There's one of them sitting down already. He's complaining because some nurse is trying to tell him that you need to bring your medicine in so the doctor can tell you how to use it. And he's giving her a bunch of shit. Another veteran comes in, said, "I don't need a mask because I'm vaccinated." And says, "No, you've got to come in here with a mask because you're in a medical facility. You got to come in with a mask. I'm vaccinated. I can't get the virus and I can't give it to no one." And the guy at the guard goes, "Look, you need to have a mask or you're not coming in here, period." And so, I'm sitting there and I'm going, what the hell is wrong with people? I get my vaccination and I'm out the door. And why complain? Just get in there, get it done, and be done with it. And I can't understand why these people are having so much trouble.
Is this the one in Santa Maria?
No, Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay. Joe's place over there.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You leaving, Wayne?
Take care, Wayne.
Take care, Wayne.
Bye, Wayne.
Yeah, let's go ahead and close down here. And remember,
All right, we'll see you.
Next month we'll do it in person. Hope to see everybody.
Hope so.
Brian, is Ron still there?
Hi, everybody. I'm sure glad I caught the end of it. It was nice to see everyone. See you tomorrow.
Okay, we'll see you down at the club station. Be there or be square.